I've done it. 100 days. Yes, 100 days. Looking to the future, we're not stopping, we're rolling on, harder than ever, if anything. But, once again, an accomplishment is an accomplishment, and sometimes it's important to celebrate the little victories, even when they're not so little. A victory that seemed gigantic a year ago now seems fine. It seems fine. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to have done it, but I'm happy that it no longer seems like a monumental achievement. I'm happy that I am dissatisfied with where I am artistically, both in terms of my skill level and in terms of my workload. I'm happy in terms of the facts that I'm unhappy with my work ethic and my business sense. And everything that represents everything that I'm trying to do, I'm in a much better place than I was, and I'm unsatisfied with all of it. And that's a good thing. Unrelated to anything else, I started the day by punching myself in the face. Actually, I went back to sleep after that, but I fell asleep, I guess, my arm funny. You ever get it where it's completely numb and it's swiveling on a hinge, but like I can't even feel it. It's basically only my shoulder has feeling. And I guess I picked my arm up like this, and I went, whoosh, and punched myself right in the mouth. And it hurt. It hurt. But that was the way I started my numbered day 100 of 100 Days of Making Comics. So something that I didn't mention yesterday is I recently agreed to, deal with, I'm gonna have a in-store signing. It'll be my second for the horror specifically. I've done in-stores where I do sketches and things like that. And this will be for Elusive Comics and Games, which is my home shop. But they moved and had, Kickstarted a refund and blah, blah, blah. And they have this whole great new shop. But that's why I didn't end up doing it earlier. And I was talking to the owner, who's a friend of mine again. And she was like, well, when are we gonna do this? And I'm like, hey man, woman, it's up to you. I'm fairly open. And I had said maybe November, but they have Derek Robertson, the artist, who is most well known to me for doing Transmetropolitan, but he also did The Boys, and he's worked on Wolverine and Nightcrawler, and I think he works for Valiant now doing Harbinger, maybe? Well-known guy, and he's gonna be there the 16th, and she's like, if you want, you could both sign that day. The connecting tissue being that in addition to running the comic store, she has a company called Illogical Associates, which a million years ago put out a book called Dorothy, Wizard of Oz themed comic, that was fumetti, maybe? I think, yeah, is the word where you kind of use photos, but then they were manipulated. Doesn't matter. More recently, and not that now it's been like 2 years or something. She and her partner put out a series of tarot cards, Wizard of Oz theme, called Shadows of Oz, which I had done a bunch of cards for. They had hired me to do, and one of the other artists was Derek Robertson. So the connecting tissue, while I don't think I've met him. He's been at the shop once or twice. I honestly can't remember if I've met him. I don't think I have. But we both worked on the same project for her. So we'll be in her shop. I'm sure she'll have copies of the decks for sale to sign or whatever, but also I'll be able to promote my book. And when I thought about it, my first thought was, yes, I want to do a signing. Thank you very much. I will accept that venue to do that, and we help each other. Great. But then my second thought when she offered the thing about Derek Robertson was like, oh, do I want to be there? Because he's going to overshadow me in terms of fame and skill and product that he has out in every conceivable way. Maybe he's a jerk, but I doubt it because he's been there before, so he'll probably be nice as well. But then I thought about, when I do shows, I was talking about somebody this recently. I've been... So traditionally, I was doing the small local shows because I'm not a big name. I don't want to be competing with the Todd McFarlanes and the Frank Millers of the world. I felt I would do better at a smaller show, kind of big fish in a small pond sort of thing. And there's some logic to that, and the investment is low, the risk is low. But doing these bigger shows, even if there are bigger comic celebrities or television celebrities, whatever, there's so much more foot traffic that even if one in 100 people is interested in me, that could still mathematically end up being more people interested in me than at a smaller show, where let's say 1 in 10 people are interested in me, but there's like a tenth of the people there, so I might get less, engagement. You know what I'm saying? Like the ratio might be lower, but because of the giant pool of people, it becomes a higher number of people I engage with, sell to, describe my comic to, whatever the thing is. So I'm kind of applying that logic that he will be a bigger draw than me for sure. People will show up just to see him. I think for me, there might be 1 or 2 people locally that know me that'll go to the shop, but I think for the most part, it'll be people that happen to be in the shop because it's a new comic book day. They would go, oh, you're here. Well, maybe I'll look at your book. Maybe I'll get a sketch. You know, whereas having him there is more of an event that people will make a point of going to. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully I'll be able to be like a, what do you call those, like a remore, I think they're called, like the little things that hang on to sharks and eat their leftovers. I'm going to be one of those to him. I could say I'm riding on his coattails, but I like it better than I'm, you shark, that's me. Plus, you know, it'll probably be more fun to be with another artist and sit there. You know, I've done shows by myself, and sometimes there's nothing going on, even if it's a busy show, even if you're a popular artist. So it'll be nice to have somebody to chat with in the downtime. And yeah, I get that's. Oh, but part of it was she asked me if I could do a flyer, and I'm not great at doing flyers. I was like, I'm not really much of a graphic designer. She's like, well, if you don't, I will. And you know, it's sort of like I'm doing her this favor. It's a favor for both of us. I'm not doing her a favor. I want to advertise them to be there as well. But considering she's giving me a free place to advertise and sell and things like that, the least I could do is pitch in and do the flyer, even though it's not my forte. I'm going to show you what I did, and after I finished it, I realized that most of my flyer experience, most of my advertising experience, which is almost nothing, comes from band flyers. And while I didn't intend it that way, when I look at this looks like a band flyer.
I mean, is it just me, or does it look like, you know, at the Court Tavern this weekend, come see Stuck Monkey with Storm Shadow, special guest, dead sexy, you know, like, cover charge $7, be here by, you know, doors open at 9. But that's, you know, that's what I do, and this took me probably close to an hour or so. I don't want to spend more time on that. There you go, that's my flyer for the in-store I'm going to be doing.
But that is knocked off my to-do list, and I will pick something else and move on from there. For those, for those that remember, the cat food I had ordered from Amazon to save money and time came smashed up and weird and rotten. What happened was I told them this, and they immediately said, we're sending you new ones. It actually came the next day, but I went to the front office and I didn't know that. So I got 3 big cases, like a month's worth of food, completely replaced immediately with 1-day shipping for free. And I said, what do you want me to do with the old one? And they were like, just chuck it. I didn't even have to send them pictures or anything. It was super fantastic customer service. It's unfortunate because there might have been some food in there that was salvageable, but they said to just chuck it. So I chucked it all, and I got the new food, and there's that. I just threw that out. I just took out recycling and the trash. I just finally opened up and plugged in a new toothbrush that I bought like a week ago that I haven't had time to get to. Did the dishes. I'm doing all that stuff, and now I'm gonna do more of that stuff. Well, I've been accomplishing more things. I took care of all the bills that I have to do once a month, and I set up the event on my Facebook page for the signing I was talking about and shared that around, and I cleaned off a shelf that was covered with dirt in the bedroom because they were doing construction, and there was just like a fine, I'm not talking about dust, it was like dirt that had been there for weeks just because I never got around to cleaning it, so I did that. You know, just weird little things like that that I have been piling up that I'm doing in anticipation of trying to do that 8-hour-a-day work week next week, which is weird because this is the last day of 100 Days of Making Comics, and I feel like it should be more about this, but I'm like so over this, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I still think it's a very good thing for people to do, and I'm glad I did it the second time, but I'm like already looking ahead so that rather than focusing on making today amazing, I'm like preparing to make next week amazing. Right now I'm going out to watch the friend's cat again, and I'll probably pick up food on the way home. I'm gonna put this in the recycling bin and check the mail, and it's a funny side effect though that I have not done my 30 minutes yet today. I had previously been doing it a lot during the day and then handling everything else, kind of get it out of the way, but I'm sort of reverting back to form. I'm probably gonna be doing it after dinner tonight, which is fine. It's just funny that, you know, I kind of moved away from that, and here at the end, bringing it back. The other day I came here, forgot the keys, had to go all the way back. This time, I have the keys, but I did actually forget them. I got all the way down in the car, started putting in the GPS, and then, wait a minute, I need keys. I keep doing this to reassure myself. But I haven't.
He does not fight, he doesn't do any of that. It's his mind.
Something I know I'm gonna forget to say later, that I've said before, but it bears repeating over and over and over again, to myself, to others: focus. Focus, focus, focus. Focus. Focus on less projects, not more. Focus on quality, not quantity. Well, you could, when I say that, I don't mean rework the same thing 10 million times like I sometimes have trouble with. What I mean is do one good book, do one good print, make one good song, as opposed to starting 15 million others. Finish things. Finish things. Finish one thing is worth 100 things you don't finish. Finish things, focus. I'm telling myself this, I'm telling all of you this. I've gotten better, I could get better still. It's exciting to think of the next project. It's exciting to think of new characters. Finish what you're working on, then move on to the next thing. You learn so much more by finishing one thing than by starting 1,000. Focus, Gaz, focus. Everyone else, you also focus. All right, I'm a little bit out of focus. All right, I am finally sitting down to do some work on the horror. On this, my 100th day. My 100th day!
You love sitting in the sink so much. You're so weird. Don't do it. You're terrible. No.
All right, my 30 minutes are done. Let me show you.
Why, it's the same panel I was working on yesterday. That's right, page 16 of the Horror A4 issue number 2, panel number 4. Zoom in. I haven't even changed. The red is the roughs, the real roughs, and then I have sort of the pencil roughs, which I have put in a little bit of shadow to go over with the inks eventually. Still not 100% happy with these helicopters. I'll clean them up a bit more in ink, similar with the horror. I'll have to put a little more detail in him. But I spent the half hour, actually probably more than a half hour, maybe like 45 minutes, getting this panel a little bit in better shape. I still don't love it, but it's better than where it was. And yeah, that's where we're at.
Which I think is just perfect. As I said, I thought about trying to end on a grandiose way, have like a pinup done or ink the first page or do something crazy, but I don't think that's in the spirit of where I'm at or the challenge at this point, because very few people who have taken the challenge and even completed it successfully. A lot of people have finished it in that most pristine version possible, and even among them, myself included, very few have had a comic done by the end of the 100 days. I think Farrell Bolding did it. I think Ox did. I mean, Ox has clearly produced a lot of comics. I'm trying to remember if he actually had one done at the end of his first 100 days. I believe he did. So there have been some, but most people who do this do not have their comic done. So it's more about, again, getting in the habit of doing the progression, getting in the habit of putting the work in, and being a professional and being dedicated, etc. So I'm at day 100, and instead of big celebratory, here's a fun pinup I did, it's like, no, I worked on that same panel again. Maybe I would have put more work into it if I didn't have other things going on right now, but again, that's the point of the 100 days too. Put the 30 minutes in, that's the time I could afford today, and that's what I did. And so for 100 days in a row, I spent at least a half hour working on this project. Usually drawing, but even if it was writing or whatever. And that's the challenge. And that's the challenge for the first time, and that's the challenge for any time after. Like I said, I likely will never do this again. I think it's a great thing for people to do at least once. And I know some people have done it 3-4 times, and that's great, as long as you're still getting something out of it. But I feel at this time, at this point for me, it's just glorifying something I could do rather easily. And in some ways, it's holding me back because I'm spending so much time working on the videos every day that I don't know when I want to commit to doing that again. And there are some days that I was just like forcing myself to work, and it wasn't worthwhile work, but I had to do it. And then other days where, you know, maybe if I didn't have to spend a half hour to an hour to sometimes 2 hours working on the video, I could have put that time in. And this is the age-old struggle that we've all talked about that have done the challenge of like, oh, I'm getting work done, but I'm putting work in the video. And usually the answer is, hey, by doing the video, you're doing more work than you normally would. But now, where I am, where I feel I am at least, I don't need the video to do the work. I like doing the video. It's fun. I like having this relationship. I like having a certain amount of accountability still, and I like working through ideas out loud to you, but also to myself. So I will continue making videos, but the part, I've now reached the tipping point. I've reached that point where I'm spending more time on the 100-day videos, and the benefit I'm getting back from them is not worth it in terms of the work I get done. If that makes sense. So, you know, who knows? Maybe in a year I'll come back and be eating my words and doing 100 days. It could happen, you know, so I'm not saying like I never, but kind of, you know, I don't plan on never doing it again. So that doesn't mean I won't do other challenges. That doesn't mean I won't do other art videos. That doesn't mean I won't do horror updates, but that's just where I feel right now. I feel good about having done it perfectly again a second time. I didn't miss a single day. I did a video every day. I worked on it every day. I didn't, you know, no matter what happened, when I had no sleep, when I was across the country, when I was doing conventions all day, I found a way to put some work in and then put a video in. The only mistakes, if you want to put it that way, there were a few times when I could not upload the video, but I still did it every day, and then maybe just 2 days later, suddenly 2 or 3 videos came up at a time. And again, other people have done it successfully and maybe had a few like missteps along the way, and I'm not faulting them, and the best thing you do is get up and dust yourself off and keep going, and most do, and I applaud that. I'm just speaking for myself. It's very important to me to have not made a mistake, especially, honestly, if I had, I might feel the need that I have to do a third round, but having flawlessly completed it twice, the challenge part of it is no longer a challenge. The real challenge is getting faster and better. I almost forgot. It's very important also that I thank everybody who watches these videos, everybody who's donated to a Kickstarter, everybody who's liked the picture I've put up, any support you've given me at any point, thank you. You're a part of this, you have helped make this happen, however high it goes, wherever it ends up, you, even if you're just watching this video for the first time, are in some way part of the DNA, of the molecular structure of whatever comes out, be it the Horror A4 or other things. And to those just starting the 100 days, good luck, stick with it, don't quit, you won't regret it. If you quit, you'll feel bad. Get back up, do it again. People have done it before, they failed and tried it again, do it. Finishing the 100 days, just like finishing a book, just like finishing any project, is gonna feel great. And it's gonna make you wanna keep finishing things, and that's awesome. So once again, thank you to everybody for me, and good luck to everybody else who's trying it for themselves. And for, of course, those that are doing it right now. Let's switch over here. Thanks for standing up and meeting me over here. I just wanted to be standing for this final one. As I said before, when I'm sitting, it's hard to have the same kind of energy. And this is the end. This is the summary of the second round of 100 Days of Making Comics. And I thought about doing, you know, a list of what I've learned doing 100 Days of Comics twice in a row. What I've learned doing the first issue of my comic. And like, there's a lot of that that I have learned, but I feel like that's the sort of thing that comes out along the way. That if you watch these videos, little nuggets of wisdom or experience seem to crop up, and I try to share them with you as they come up. But I didn't want to pour through all the videos and find all the nuggets, so I'll sort of sum up my gut feeling is, again, everybody should do the 100 Days of Making Comics, or the 100 Days of whatever. It can't help but make you better. Even if you hate what you come out with at the end of it, even if it's miserable, just doing it, the discipline of doing it, you can't help but get better. So I still stand by that. Doing it the second time, I don't regret doing either. And I would even say maybe do it a second time, because it will either be challenging again and be like, oh, I still got to work on it. Or like me, you'll say, you know what? Good. I feel confident that I've nailed this. I've mastered this part of the challenge. And of course, part of it is, I don't have a 9-to-5 job, I don't have a family and a child, I don't have things that where it's like really hard to find a minute. Like, I could always find a minute in my schedule to work on it. It's just a matter of motivating myself to do it. And now, because of the way my client work's been going, partially by chance, partially on purpose, I have a lot of free time. I've been having a lot more free time, and coming up the next few weeks until the end of the month, I'm gonna have a lot of free time. Now, at the end of the month, I'm gonna be going to LA for a show and a few other kamikaze and things like that. But I have a big chunk of seeming free time coming up that I'm going to try to use, as I said, as like a real work week. We'll see how that goes next week. And I'm not going to be doing daily videos, but at some point I'll update you and let you know what's going on with that. Before that, you will probably see some toy videos and other backlog videos pop up. But again, that doesn't mean I have disappeared. I was watching, I kind of quickly, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I kind of skimmed through day 100 from my last 100 days. Like, what did I do to make it special? And one of the things I did was like, hey, remember this? And remember this? And it was a jokey thing, but I was sort of going through everything we've seen and done for this 100 days. And I thought about doing that for this one, but I think that's against the spirit of where I'm at right now. As much as I look back and or I'm into nostalgia and 80s and all that stuff, that's not what I'm about right now. I'm not about looking back at the achievements I made these 100 days, because I'm taking that for granted. That's a given at this point. I'm about, let's see what's coming up in the future. Not the next 100 days, but just the whole future. Let's look forward. So instead of remember this, let's look forward to get ready for. So get ready for when I'm doing more work at that table. Get ready for when I'm doing more work at this computer. Get ready for when I finish issue 2 and do a Kickstarter. And get ready for when I do issue 3 and 4 and 5 and do the trade. And get ready for when I, get it into Diamond. Get ready for when I make new prints. Get ready for when I work on my next project, whatever that may be. Get ready for new videos and new formats and new adventures. And get ready for cats and get... that's stupid. You get the idea. I was trying to think of specific examples, but really just, I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna try to work harder. I'm gonna try to be better. I'm gonna try to be, a better artist than I am now. Even though I am further along than I was, I'm unhappy. I'm dissatisfied. I'm the best version of me that maybe I've ever been, and it's not good enough. And that's fine. I don't know if I'll ever get to good enough. I almost got to the point where I don't think I'm a lazy piece of crap. I've almost got there. I'm not there, but I could see how I could maybe get to the point where I don't feel that way about myself. And yeah, I'm gonna keep working at it. You keep working at it. I know I'm in kind of on a weird energy for this thing, but it's like, the last time I was like, yeah! And this time I'm like, all right, let's get back to work. So I am going to end it there, and today's day 100. And if today is day 100, well, then you know what that means. It means that we got a week left, a month left, a year left, the rest of our lives left to continue working, improving, getting better on whatever it is that we need to work on. I guess ox too. I'm trying to think of not just... Whoa, that is shaky.